Hey everyone, welcome back to the addtaxpod, the podcast where I remind you to know your worth and then add tax, period. I hope everybody is doing well. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. So happy to have you here, no matter how you found this podcast. I am back outside and I'm trying to be more mindful of where I have this mic placed because I realized in the last episode it was just way too close and it was just making a bunch of weird noises. We still have the cicada choir in the background, so if you hear them, it just is what it is. And I tried to get in a spot where there was sun today, but now the sun wants to just... Once I started recording, it was just like, okay, bye. So that's great. Before I dig into today's juicy episode, I just want to remind everybody to like, comment, subscribe if you are watching on YouTube, and don't forget to leave a review and comment your favorite part from the episode, as well as leave a 5-star rating if you're listening on any of the other podcast streaming platforms. I appreciate the support so much. It helps my podcast reach other people who would benefit from connecting with this podcast. Don't be shy. Hit that subscribe. Yup, you already know the drill. So what I've been up to recently is just being in a state of reflectiveness, if that's a word. My degree's in English, but hey, what's wrong with making up a new word? So I've been in a state of deep reflectivity recently. I am celebrating the 6-month anniversary of me being single. Woo! And 6-month anniversary of when I dumped my abusive ex-boyfriend and decided to live a life that was just fully dedicated to me and choosing myself, and a life free from toxicity and abuse. So this episode marks that 6-month chapter, and I'm really proud of myself because the old me probably would have been in a new relationship by now or something and not have really taken the time to I've just never taken the time to be with myself. So 6 months of that, I'm really proud of myself. And in honor of that, I was kind of just flipping through some pages of my old journal, and I came across something that was really revolutionary for me that I've never done in any other breakup situation or relationship, or just toxic or abusive relationship, whether it was with a family member or a romantic partner or a friend or even a workplace. And that was writing 100 things that I hate about my ex-boyfriend. And this was revolutionary for me because nothing even really sparked this, like, externally. I broke up with him on February 26th. So this journal entry was on March 5th. So not too long after the breakup, I was just in a place of knowing that I made the right decision, but still having my heartstrings tugged on because I missed him. I still felt remnants of deep love for him and deep admiration. But I was like, why am I admiring somebody that treated me like shit? I always put the time on my journal entries. This was literally at 4:22 p.m. Yeah, I just remember being fed up with feeling like I was losing out on something because I knew that I deep down, I knew that I only had to, could gain from dumping him. So I remember just sitting in my bed and being like, okay, instead of ruminating on all of the good moments, Because that's what keeps you stuck in an abusive or toxic situation, is thinking about all of the highlights and the good moments and like, oh, well, oh, remember whenever we went on vacation and it was just so great? Or remember that weekend that we spent together and like he was just so loving? Or remember Valentine's Day? And remember when he brought me my favorite cup of coffee? And all those things that keep you stuck. And I'm sure that if you've been in a toxic or abusive relationship, you can totally relate to this. Just ruminating on all of those good moments, the highlights, and just replaying that highlight reel in your brain, that makes you question if you made the right decision in breaking up with them, when deep down you know that you did. I took it upon myself to just start writing a list. It says things I don't like about being with redacted name slash him overall. And I just started writing. And as I was writing, it just like poured out of my brain, just all of these things that were in my reality of being with him, but they were things that I always just glazed over or overlooked or made excuses for because I loved him or believed that I loved him. Still figuring that out. It did end up being 100 items on this list of things that I disliked about this man and disliked about being with him. And I remember sitting there after getting to 100, and I had to stop myself because I was like, okay, wait, I've been sitting here for a minute. But after getting to 100, I was like, whoa, I stayed in this relationship way too long. There were so many, like, I can trace all of these points back to specific times in our dating history, our relationship history, of when I can look back now and be like, okay, I should have left there. Should have cut him off there. Should have ghosted him there. And now I can look at it from a place of, okay, I'm so proud of myself that I can look at this list and be like, girl, what were we doing? What were we doing? Instead of looking back on that breakup and that relationship and being in a place of like, oh, I hope he's doing okay. No, him. Because this list proves that he never gave a flying rat's ass about me. And I think that's the thing with toxic and abusive relationships, and something that my toxic cousin, who I've mentioned before, tried to convince me of, and just even other people just throughout my life, of like, okay, well, what about all the good things about that person? Or people telling me like, oh, don't block your blessings, he seems like a great guy, instead of really being like, hey, like, what is going on in this relationship? So I'm glad that I took the time to sit myself down and be like, okay, what is wrong? What was wrong here? And what is wrong here? Because clearly there's the straw that broke the camel's back was him yelling at me. And clearly there were a lot of other things wrong in that relationship. So I do plan on making a longer Patreon video for this entire list. Because this is not, again, it's 100 things. So it's not enough to cover in a single regular episode. So I do plan on making an exclusive Patreon episode for the rest of this comprehensive list, because I think that a lot of other women can relate to these points. Because again, it's not just like one or two little minor things here or there. Like when you add them up, it's like, whoa, this is not somebody that I would want to spend the rest of my life with. This is not somebody that's worth my time or effort or energy. And I'm so much better than what this person is offering me. Like, I can offer myself all of these things and they can't. So why am I with them? They're not adding anything to my life. They're only extracting from it. So you might be able to relate to some of these points on my list that you may have identified in your ex-partner, or things that make you kind of realize like, oh wait, I was putting up with that too. Because girl, I think it's so important to sit back and be like, what was I putting up with? Because these are things I'm never going to put up with again. Like, now that I know my worth, and now that I'm adding tax to it, and now that I'm making myself the main character of my life's fucking story, these are things that I'm never, ever dealing with again. I don't care how minor they seem, because to other people, they might be like, oh, well, that's something that you can get over. But again, it's every time I said, oh, that's minor, I don't have to worry about that. That at the end of this relationship, that entire list of, oh, it's okay, I can overlook that, added up to 100 plus things. Because again, I stopped myself at 100. So no, never make excuses for these men. Never make excuses for people that aren't giving you what you want and what you need, and that are treating you like shit. So, without further ado, let's get into this list. Okay, so how this is gonna go, I'm just gonna read off a couple and elaborate a little bit on why these are things that I was putting up with and why I wouldn't put up with them anymore. Okay, so one of the items on this list was he drove super fast and dangerous when he got irritated at me. At the time that this incident happened, I didn't say anything in the moment. I was in like a freeze mode or fawn mode. And I remember in my head, this was whenever I was visiting him, because again, this was a long distance relationship. I remember I didn't say anything until I got back to my city. And I think I either texted him or called him, but I told him, like, hey, by the way, that wasn't cool. And if you are, like, when I'm in the car, like, you are going to drive the speed limit, and you're not going to put my life at risk. If you want to do that on your own and put your life at risk getting a run-in with the cops, then by all means, you can go ahead and do that. But when I'm in the car, like, I have a life to live for. So you're not about to do that with me. Yeah, so I stayed because I felt like, because I addressed it, that it was enough for him to, like, learn that, like, oh, Jasmine's not gonna take no from me, even though, I still was taking but that was a very dangerous situation. And my belief is that if somebody is willing to drive recklessly and carelessly while you're in the car with them, then they actually couldn't care less if you were to pass away. Like, if you lost your life and they were responsible for it because, like, they're the one behind the wheel, they quite literally wouldn't care. Couldn't care less. So now I'm like, okay, if I ever get in the car with anybody, I don't care who it is, family, friend, boyfriend, or otherwise, and you're driving in the car with me like a maniac, and the reason he was doing it was because he was just annoyed at me that I had asked him to open up my door to the car, and then he was upset that he had to buy groceries because I was staying at his place. Like, why am I here then if you're just gonna complain? Like, get over yourself, you weirdo. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this guy is such a bum. So there's that one. The next one was boring AF at the Zayn concert. Now, he got me tickets to see Zayn, and this was a part of his Christmas gift to me or whatever, even though I was going to get the tickets regardless, because since I was a teenager, whenever Zayn left One Direction, I was already planning on going to go see Zayn, because that man has been my celebrity crush for the past over a decade or whatever. So I was already gonna go regardless. And yeah, so anyway, so we were at the concert. And he was just standing around complaining because his back was aching and stuff like that, and just being a sourpuss. Like, I wanted to actually try and get as close to the stage as possible. Like, going to concerts is one of my favorite hobbies, and he literally was just standing against the wall. And I think he did it on purpose because he knew how excited I was. Like, on the drive there, he was being so just quiet, like, wasn't like feeding into my hype. Like, again, like, this was something I was doing for my inner child. It literally had nothing to do with him. And the fact that, like, I thought that it was something generous of like, oh, okay, like, he wants to help make this come true for me. And then he's just standing around like he would rather be somewhere else. Than like, why are you here with me? Like, I literally could have just gone alone. Like, I literally could have just gone alone. And had a great time. I mean, I still had a great time because I didn't even stand next to him. I just stood in the crowd by myself. But I even remember I was trying to dance to Pillow Talk, and I guess there was some girl that was like close by to us because I like grabbed his hand. I was like, ew. And he was like, babe, you're literally gyrating on that girl. And I was like, she can move. Like, they literally came after us. And I was like, also, he just cared way too much about what people thought. I'm like, I'm having a good time. Everybody else should be dancing too, because this song is a banger. So, anyways, yeah. So I stayed with him because I was like, okay, well, his excuse was that his back was aching. But now my thing is like, no, I would rather go alone if you're gonna stand around and act like a sourpuss just because, like, I'm having a fun experience that, like, you aren't really super invested in. Like, you should be excited for me, and you weren't excited for me. So, therefore, I would rather go alone. One of the things that abusive men, abusive people do is try and just, like, kill your fun because they don't like to see you happy unless they're like the direct cause of it, you know? So it was like something else was making me happy and it wasn't him. Therefore, it was like, oh, can we go home now? Like that kind of vibe, you know? Okay, the next thing is no savings account. And yeah, no savings account is just number one, a big red flag that I overlooked. At the time when I met him, I was just in a darker place myself, so I didn't really care about finances or anything like that. I was like 24 when I met him, so, you know, a couple years ago. But I didn't really care about finances or really understand the meaning of abundance or an abundant mindset or just the importance of good money management and stuff like that. And I had learned those lessons along the way, but at that time, I just kind of brushed it off as like, okay, like I can't judge him if I don't even have a savings account myself, you know? But honestly, like I don't want, like, now where I'm at, I would not date somebody that doesn't have a savings account because I have a savings account. So I'm not about to date somebody that is just not on that same frequency of understanding the importance of money management, no matter how much money you have, you know, like whatever you have, you should be able to manage it responsibly, especially the fact that what's even crazier is that he wasn't even like he was living out. I mean, he had a roommate, but technically like on his own. And it's like, bro, you also are pushing the 6-figure range of your salary. So where's all your money going? Honestly, that's such a big concern. Like, yeah, I think it would just be a concern if somebody does have a lot of money and it's like every month they're like, oh, I'm so broke. Like, he used to ask me for money and I would be like, I thought, like, he works at a law firm. Like, what is going on? Like, the math just wasn't mathing. Like, I shouldn't be the savings account. Your girlfriend should not be your savings account. So where I'm at now is I would not be somebody's savings account, backup plan, a little piggy bank. I'm not a piggy bank. Go figure it out, sir. The next one is no hobbies. Oh my gosh. Y'all, he had no hobbies, and he even admitted this himself. Like, he literally said, like, one day he had called me in distress because he, like, again, he really did not like himself. He hated himself. So he called me because he was going down a spiral of, like, self-hatred or whatever the fuck. Just spewing out all of these horrible things about himself. And I was just sitting on FaceTime listening like, whoa, what the And he was just saying how he has the hobbies of a teenage boy. And he was saying that his hobbies are like watching porn, playing video games, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, smoking, weed. I wrote it off because I was like, okay, but I've seen him do other things with his time. So I just tried to console myself and him with like, but you like building things and you like, I forget what else he did because he really didn't have any hobbies. So I honestly don't even know how I was consoling that man. Or myself, because he didn't have any hobbies. I think I said this in episode 1. At the time that I met him, we were vibrating at the same low frequency. It was a very, very low frequency. But yeah, so I think I was just like trying not to judge him. But no, that was just a big red flag. Where I'm at now is like, if you only spend your time drinking, drugging, playing video games, or whatever, that's just so very low vibrational. Like, read a book. Oh, that was something else that he tried to do. He did try to read books. He wasn't very consistent though. But yeah, like read a book, go to the gym, a bunch of other things that you could do with your time, but you're not. So it's just such a big red flag because it's like, yeah, you don't do anything with your time. And the fact that you can identify it and then you fail to do anything about it shows me that I should not be in this relationship. The next one is friends with a cheater. No, y'all. I remember one time he had told me that like they were hanging out and stuff because they live close by, and he had a fiance. And my ex was telling me like, oh yeah, so-and-so was trying to get advice on like cheating or something like that, or like what he should do or something. And I was like, ugh. Yeah, I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like what did you say to him? And he was just like, I told him that he's a piece of shit. And then we just like laughed about it. And I was like, what? And at the time I was like, okay, well, like, period. You called him out as you should. And I thought at the time that was like good enough that he, like, I did kind of dig because I was like, okay, like, are you egging this on? So at the time I thought that it was okay that he just kind of called his friend a piece of shit. But in hindsight, I'm like, the fact that you stayed friends with him and then we went to this man's wedding. And like, just the fact that you are so okay being close friends, the fact that like you brought me to his wedding and you know that he's a cheater and like you're literally over here celebrating him and all this stuff and like getting all teary-eyed as he's walking down the aisle. I'm sitting here looking around like like I couldn't even get, like, it was a beautiful wedding, but I couldn't even get like emotional because I'm like, I feel so bad for this girl. And, this is a situation where it's not my place to even tell her. But I just felt so bad. And then, like, in hindsight, looking at my ex is like, you're a piece of too. What I've realized now is there's a big global dilemma of men being friends with other men who are cheaters and thinking that just because they're not like feeding into it or whatever, that they're not a bad person. No, you're an enabler. Like, you are consistently also contributing to the harm that another woman is going through unknowingly. Like, you are literally contributing to the harm. So now I am in a place where I'm like, that is so up, where you don't even have the human decency or a strong moral compass to make you go, whoa, I don't want to be friends with somebody that cheats. Like, that is so low vibrational, that is so damaging to that other human being that you're with. And instead of telling that your friend, like, hey, maybe you should just break up with her. Maybe you should just go and be single and let her live her life and you go live yours. And just, like, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to be single, but stop cheating on people and thinking that it's okay to expose your partner to all this, like, all these so many risks with cheating. That's a whole nother episode. But yeah, it's just like, you are such a weak man because you can't even stand up to your, like, you're so worried about being, like, you're so desperate for this guy's friendship and validation of you or whatever the issue is, that you can't even stand up to him and be like, bro, that's some weak like, why are you cheating on her? That's a good woman. Like, why are you cheating on her? Or even if she's not a good woman, I don't know the girl, but either, it doesn't matter if they're a good woman or not. Like, you should just not be cheating on people. That's not the answer. So I think that should have been his approach of, like, that's not the answer. And honestly, like, no. Dating a man that's friends with cheaters? Girl, run. Run, head for the hills. Book it down the hill. Book it down every single hill. Oh my gosh. The last one that I'm gonna share with you guys today. Oh my. This list, y'all, I was cracking up reading this whole thing. I cannot wait for this Patreon episode because at first I was like, maybe it's a little too much to just share the whole thing. But no, like, this list is frying me. It's so funny. Okay. Because it's so true. And again, it's been almost 6 months since I've read this particular journal entry. So yeah, I forgot about a lot. Like, I just forgot about so much. Okay, the last one is, he got overwhelmed when I asked what his goals are for life. No, because this one was number 100, and this was one of the first things that ever made me hesitate about dating this man, because it was one of the first questions I asked him of, like, okay, what do you want to do with your life? And he freaked the out. Like, I asked him, what the square root of 2 million is or something. And it was just so funny because, no, I mean, it's funny now, but at the time, I remember that I was like, okay, this is a red flag because he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. Like, he literally has no idea. And I've ran into this kind of man before. So I was like, okay, maybe I should call it quits. But you know what I did instead? I went to my cousin and I said, I brought the situation to him. I was like, since you guys are best friends, like, what is his work ethic like? Like, what does he have goals for his life? Does he have dreams? And I remember my cousin was just basically saying, like, you wouldn't want to, like, dump him now and then imagine he, like, actually gets his together and then he becomes all, like, rich and successful, and then, like, look at you, like, you left him when he was just going through, like, a down moment. And if y'all listen to the Struggle Love episode on this podcast, you will know why now that is not advice that I should have taken, because I was literally in a struggle love relationship with this man. Like, this was literally the first indicator of, like, hey girl, you're about to be in a struggle love relationship. Have fun. Because he really didn't have any goals for himself. He had no idea what he wanted to do. He had no direction. Like, he was just like a fart in the wind, just going every which way. He had no idea what he was doing. Like, he was just existing for real. Yeah, so at the time, because of the advice I got from my cousin, because again, I went to him because I was like, okay, you know him best. Like, you guys have literally been best friends for like a bajillion years. So, like, is this normal or what? And he basically was just like, I mean, you know, again, the whole spiel of like, don't give up on him. You don't want to block your blessings. So, yeah, so I thought I wasn't blocking my blessings by writing him off because of this, but it never changed, ever. There were multiple times throughout our dating and relationship history that I had asked, like, okay, like, what do you want to do? What are your plans? Yada, yada, yada. And every time it was just like, oh my gosh, like, I have to get off the phone. Oh my gosh, this is a lot for me to think about. And then I would tell my cousin, again, he'd be like, you're overwhelming him. Like, he's already going through a lot. Like, you're overwhelming him. You don't know what you want to do with your life. Like, and now I know that it doesn't even matter if it's a boyfriend, anybody else. If you don't know what you're doing with your life, I don't need you in my life, because your chaos and your lack of direction, lack of, like, not control, but lack of ownership over your own life is not energy that I need in my life, you know? Because you're just gonna, especially when it's a boyfriend, I'm like, okay, we're planning on, you know, getting engaged and getting married. Like, no, you're literally about to just drag me down a big fat rabbit hole of, like, just chaos and confusion and no direction. Like, you're gonna lead me off a cliff, you know? So, yeah, so I'm glad that I left him, because I literally had all the direction in that relationship. He had no direction. And that's why I believe that women are the real alphas. Because how are you going to be like, oh, I'm the man, I should lead, when you can't even lead yourself? If we're going to talk alpha beta here, I was the real alpha in that relationship. I was leading him, okay? Overall, this list reminded me, and even at the time, it just reinforced why I made the right decision and why I was so happy to be single. Like, even now, I just read it and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not with him anymore. Like, he really would have destroyed me and destroyed my life farther. And I'm just so glad that I got out of it when I did. And I'm really, really proud of myself, even at like that soon after the breakup, being able to sit down and write down a list of things that I didn't like about him, because it does show what I've said before, is like, I did outgrow him at a really fast pace. Yeah, so I'm really proud of myself for being able to recognize all the things I didn't like about him, because I think that it really aided in me just healing from the breakup faster, or like getting over him, if you will, faster. I hate that term, but yeah, just being able to move forward and not ruminate on all the good things, and step into the reality of the situation in the relationship that I was dealing with. Because again, in toxic and abusive relationships, they are so good at making you question your reality and keeping you stuck in a cycle where you think that everything is good and everything's peachy and grand, where that's really not the reality of it. And again, you have people in their inner circles trying to convince you that they're a good person and all this stuff, when it's like, no, the facts say otherwise. Like, these are the facts of my relationship. Like, okay, cute, like we went on vacation and did all this cute or whatever, but that's not what I needed. Like, I needed somebody stable and that wasn't gonna abuse me. And like, this is literally the proof that like this was an abusive fucking relationship, and that like that's what I needed to see for myself to snap me out of that, the rose-colored glasses. Like, it's like you literally, like, the rose-colored glasses literally feel like they're glued onto your fucking face when you're in an abusive relationship. So this list helped me to just rip them the fuck off. And honestly, if anybody is struggling with the rumination of it all, I highly recommend writing a list like this. It really did change the way that I perceived my relationship after the breakup and in those initial healing stages of it all. So 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Add Tax podcast. And don't forget to, again, like this episode if you made it to the end, subscribe, follow me on all platforms. The link tree is in the description below. Have a great rest of your day, whatever time of day it is. I look forward to seeing everybody next week. And until then, remember to know your worth and then add tax, period. Take it away, theme song.